What's up, Raider Nation? Spicy Raider Girl here. Welcome to our take. We are going to be discussing tonight's matchup, the Raiders versus the Lions, with some very special guests. So stay tuned.
Produced by Hamza Yassin. Produced by Hamza Yassin.
Going on, Spicy Raider Girl here with my boy Omar. What's good with you, Omar, on this Monday night
What's going on?
extravaganza? The Raiders, a second Monday night football game. Hopefully, we show the world what we about.
Hey, I mean, look at all the upsets this weekend. So I think the Lions have been a little inconsistent. So hey, I don't even know if I would call it an upset if we won.
I would agree with you. Before we get started, speaking of the Lions, I would just like to thank them because they passed on my boy, a one Mr. Mad Max.
Right.
So I would like to thank them for this gem right here, this beautiful man, this talented player. He was quoted as saying, "I cannot wait. I wouldn't say I was mad, but I remember everything. Let's just that." This is Mad Max talking about the Detroit Lions not selecting him in the 2019 draft. And he played in that area, so it kind of seemed like it would have been a good fit. But thank you. I will take him.
I mean, I hope that's going to be a little added chip on his shoulders this evening.
Right.
He's going to have a lot. I read he's going to have some friends and family out there. So, I mean, man, I hope he does his thing because we need him to disrupt that offense so that we'll have a chance. So
we definitely need him for that. And I will say this: I think he's averaging. We're 7 games in. He's averaging 6.5 sacks, or he has 6.5 sacks. I want him to get 2 tonight. That'll at least put him on pace to have at least one per game. That's my goal for him. No reason, just because that's kind of what I want him to do.
We would love for him to have a 17 sack season.
That'd be great. We'd all be happy about that.
Definitely.
Let me bring in our 2 guests here that are going to break down this game with us. Scotty Waddy, Raider One, and Aphrodisiac. What's good, fellas?
What up?
What's up? We are going to get into some predictions and things of that nature here in a minute. Before we say, I guess, who we think's going to win, we'll carry the theme out throughout the show. Let's do some housekeeping here. If you haven't already, light that torch, hit that like button. You can subscribe. You can become a member as well. And drinking game alert tonight, Jimmy G. Every time we say Jimmy G, make sure you take a drink. You don't drink, toe or twerk. You know how we do. And also, we're going to play a little game later on. It's going to be the Raiders, Lions over under. We'll get into that. But yeah, so where do we see this game tonight? I mean, really, I honestly don't have a prediction. I have to toss a coin. Omar, what do you think?
I think we can win. I mean, we've been inconsistent. So me as an optimistic Raider fan, I kind of go into every game thinking, hey, we can come out with a W. The Lions have been inconsistent. Games I thought they would have won, they didn't. I'm like, okay, and if you look at the upsets from this weekend, definitely anything can happen.
Sure.
Jimmy G is starting. I mean, 2 of our losses came when he was out. So I'm gonna say that's a plus to have him, let's hope he can finish the game.
All right. Well, that's that. We'll spread these out now that you say that, because one of our over under is, and all the panel, let me know. Over under Jimmy G. 3 quarters played. Over under.
I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna be the optimist. I'm going over. I'm gonna go over.
All right, he's going over.
That's horrible.
Aphrodisiac, what you think? Are you on mute? You're on mute, my friend.
We can't hear you, Afro.
You're on mute.
We need one to make it interesting, so I'm gonna do the under. I'm gonna do the under. In fact, I'm going to say by halftime.
Oh, I think Scotty Waddy, you said under as well, right?
Yeah, Scotty said under too.
Hey, listen, the fact that we're having this conversation,
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, we all
bad.
knew.
That's bad.
We all knew. I mean, we based so many. I know I based every prediction I made on this whole season was always if Jimmy stays healthy. I mean, it's just there. It's like an asterisk on a Hall of Famer's record. It's just there, you know. It's his career, man. I mean, so yeah, I'm like I said, I'm gonna be optimistic. I'm gonna take the over.
I'm gonna take the over too. We need it to be the over.
Yes.
Matter of fact, because I don't know, and listen, I would say go with AOC as a second. As
He is the backup. Hoyer's inactive.
that's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't make it, I would take AOC anyway. But Hoyer is not available. He is inactive. This came out, and these are the other. Oh no, this is the fake one. Sorry, hold on. Remove that. We were just talking about this before we got on here. Somebody had sent this or put this fake one up, and I was like, no, that can't be. So I went to the actual the Raiders. Twitter, and found out that was not the case. So yeah, he is inactive tonight. So that's a good thing, or that's not a good thing. But I don't know. It depends. I kind of think it's a good thing. I don't even want him on the team.
I think one of the big reasons, of course, all of Raider Nation was mad that we lost against the Bears. And if anybody's like me, I was more mad seeing the Chargers just run over the Bears yesterday. But then my second thing I was upset about is, our rookie should have been playing in that game, not Hoyer. We all know there's no future in Hoyer. Ain't no future in that front. We know that.
Right.
So why waste it and waste reps so that we can know what we have with AO4 moving into the offseason, especially if our season just goes to hell in a handbasket. So I thought, number one, we didn't play well. Number two, we wasted an opportunity to not play the rookie. So Hoyer needs to be inactive pretty much unless they just give up on the rookie and for whatever reason.
I would say this though, with the decision to start Hoyer, okay, I'll go with it. But then come halftime is where I would have made the change. The fact that they put him in when the game was basically over made no sense to me.
It made no sense that he was even in.
Let him play the whole entire second half and see what he can do. It's not going to get any worse.
I mean, why would you play the rookie against the Chargers but not against the Bears, who was also playing their rookie? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm gonna be scratching my head on that one forever. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm like, you let him play against the Chargers, which is going to be every 10 out of 10 is going to be a much harder played game than playing the Bears, especially when they had a rookie in. So, head scratcher, big time for me.
Yeah, for sure. Let's say what's up to everybody in the chat. What's good? Sunny Boy, Navajo Raider, what's going on?
So
the General, Sunshine Bug, what is good? Okay, I don't watch Just Win Baby. That's right. I don't know what this is, but maybe you guys know what this is. The Raiders are the NFL version of WCW. I don't know what that is.
It's one of those. It used to be WWF wrestling, I believe, and I think now it's WCW.
I gotcha. And tonight as well, if you want to hit that super chat button for a chance to win a Woodson Whiskey t-shirt if you're interested in that. You can donate any amount. So go ahead. And for everyone who does hit that as well, if you don't win the t-shirt, we'll send some stickers. So there's a little promotion for Woodson Whiskey, who sponsors our channel here. So this was interesting. I saw on, speaking of predicting, this is what I saw on Nike Football's Instagram today, which I was surprised to see when I cast my vote. And this was a couple hours ago, so maybe it's changed. But it looks like, at least the Instagram fans, and this is not just Raiders fans, this is the NFL. So whoever's following this NFL page has got out there and in the Insta world has the Raiders at 64% on who they got. You guys agree with this?
Of course I do. I picked this in my pool, so but I never pick against this. So.
First of all, Oh, by the way, I know it's game day. I know we wear black, but I had to wear my red for all the fallen red teams that fell yesterday. Fuck them all. Um, that's why I got this one on today. But anyways, I couldn't agree with Omar anymore. The Lions are inconsistent. I thought they had a squad, but I'm starting to have my doubts about that now. They're very beatable. I don't know. They got some. I know they got some good players and whatever, but I think they're beatable. I think we're a little bit hungry. Let's talk about that team meeting that was had yesterday.
Ooh,
I'm
juicy.
I'm sure some people sounded off. I would love to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah, has anything leaked from that? I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard anything. But I believe that McDaniels was in that meeting. It wasn't just a player thing.
Oh yeah, that's what my understanding as well.
Yeah, that was my understanding. But I don't know. Can we get hungry? Are we mad enough? Max Crosby plays like he's fucking pissed every game.
Good. He should be pissed.
There's some other players too. I just think that Max he's a monster. I mean, what can you what can't you say about that guy that's not good? So I think we have a solid chance of being competitive here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aphrodisiac, you have any thoughts on who we got? Or who if you watched any of like the Monday Night Countdown, ESPN, and everything, I don't think one person chose the Raiders, by the way. I'm just saying.
I think both teams are real hungry, right? Because both teams got embarrassed last week. Detroit against Baltimore, and the Raiders against the Bears. So they both have something to play for. And yeah, it's a cliche, national television. It's a cliche saying that the whole country is watching, but that's real. I mean, if you're going to be up there in front of the whole world on primetime television, and you're going to stink it up, that could just pretty much ruin your season. We're about halfway through the season now, and if it doesn't work out tonight, it's going to be really bad. I think that the Raiders probably have more to play for. No insider information or anything, but I think the coach has a lot on the line on this game as opposed to Detroit's coach. The quarterback situation, the whole roster pretty much. So I think the Raiders have more to lose by losing this game. I think the Raiders are going to be so up for this game that the intensity level is just going to be something we haven't seen all season.
Can I add on to what you just said there, Afro? Also, speaking of more to lose by the Raiders don't think they're a winning team. The Lions think they're a winning team.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So the Raiders are like, they're not out there. They got something. They got more to prove based on exactly what you're saying.
It makes sense to me. And, I hadn't thought of it in those terms, but what I did think about to Afro's point and proving yourself this week because of the embarrassment both teams had last week was if you listen to their coach at the podium and you listen to our coach at the podium, I believe their coach. I believe their coach wants to win, wants to make changes, and wants to come out and be the best football team and show what they could do tonight. When I heard our coach talk, I heard a lot of, it wasn't convincing that he's going to say, yeah, we got embarrassed. We're going to fix this. We're going to go out there and win. And I feel like that's what I got from the Lions coach.
He's a big rah-rah guy. He has those guys tuned up. You know what I mean? He is a complete opposite of McDaniels. If you notice, I've heard him talk several times. I watched his demeanor on the sideline with guys. He gets those guys pumped. You know what I mean? We got guys upset. I mean, at least I read after that Bears game, they were saying that the defense was calling out our offensive plays. And when you're coaching like that, you lose your team, because he's calling the plays. He's supposed to be playing chess, not checkers. And if the defense is calling out your plays like that, they're playing chess and our offense is playing checkers, and we don't want that. So
throwing it in your face.
Right.
Throwing it in your face.
And I mean, and you can't argue with when I read that, I definitely believed it because the proof's in the pudding. How many points have we been scoring each game? Not a lot. If our defense don't keep someone under 14, we're not going to win.
That definitely needs to change tonight. That definitely.
Yeah.
And speaking of scoring, let's do another over under here. Raiders vs Lions edition. Davante Adams, 71.5 receiving yards. Now, we all knew that Davante was going to get more targets last week because he basically said he wanted it and told the world he was going to get it, and he did. Okay, but he's still hovering around this number here. So does he ball out tonight on Monday Night Football? You got over or under? What you guys got?
I got over.
I mean, I'll take the over, but I'm going to go back to it. We went to Davante in the first quarter last game, and then we stopped going to him. So it's not up to Davante anymore. If it was up to Davante, shit, I'd take the over anytime, any day. But it doesn't seem like it's up to him anymore. He can't get the ball thrown to him. So I'll take the over, but who knows?
I'll take the over too, but with that point, I think the problem is they know it's going to go to him, so they start double teaming him, things of that nature. But hey, you got to pivot then, in my opinion. If you know Davante's when he had 5 catches right out the gate last week, something like that. Okay, then they make a switch. Now you got to get Josh Jacobs and the running game in there. It's like I don't know. There's some disconnect in making both work at the same time, or utilizing everyone. We had our tight end Michael Mayer going a couple of weeks ago, and he was balling out. It's like, how can we figure out? Actually, Josh had a good game last week too. But how do we figure to get out all these pieces together, move the ball around, and things of that nature? But I'm gonna go over. Afro.
If Jimmy G stays in the whole game, Davante will have a good game. If Jimmy G gets knocked out or goes into that little tent, and then they don't have to really worry about the passing game too much, they can double team Davante and load up the box against the run. It's not going to be a pretty night for Davante at all. So I think it's key if Jimmy G is in the game the whole time. So I will say over with an asterisk for Jimmy G's health.
All right, fair enough. Let's go over this here. We've got some interesting roster moves. So speaking of spreading out the field and going to different players, with these roster moves, what do you guys see? What stands out to you? And where does Hunter Renfrow fall into all of this? I think people forget, or maybe they don't. But I was kind of thinking, okay, the trade deadline is tomorrow. Okay, are they going to play him? Because if something potentially happens, then his trade value is gone, right? But at the same time, they don't utilize him anyway. So I was actually kind of expecting Hunter Renfrow to be on the non-injured inactive list. But what do you make of these moves here?
I mean, DJ Turner, yeah, I see him coming up. We needed another kicker because we don't know what's going on with Carlson. I don't know.
The biggest elephant in the room, but it's more on the inactive list, but it shows up here on who's been activated is Curtis Bolton for Divine Diablo. So before the season, I always thought our linebackers, is a potential weak spot. That assumption was based that our D line was going to be greatly improved, and we've all seen some of the results there. I still think Divine Diablo is going to be a loss today, as I've seen some improvement out of him. I think we all have this season. So he bulked up a little bit, and it looks like he didn't lose any speed. So it was nice to see him out there balling and stuff. So, like I say, I'm worried about Curtis Bolton, but we'll see. With Diablo being out, and of course the kicker. I mean, I've been scratching my head at Carlson a couple of games, before the injury. So to me, that's going to stand out as well. I mean, like I said before, our offense have not been scoring a lot of points, which makes that kicker position, it makes special teams very, very important. So yeah, that's my thought on that.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be real important. I think the key to victory tonight for either team is who comes out the strongest. I mean, no, I don't think any team can afford to play backup. I think the team that shows up and actually gets first downs, scores on the first two drives maybe, that's really going to tell the tale of how this game goes. And unfortunately, we all know this. This is not brand new information. I'm not saying anything that anyone doesn't know, but for whatever reason, the Raiders always seem to play down to their opponent's level. And that's what happened with Chicago last week. Worse than their opponent's level, right? And I think, like Scotty Waddy said, Detroit thinks they're a good team. They are a good team, actually. People don't believe that because they're the Lions and we're used to them not doing well, but they're a good team. So do the Raiders actually say, hey, we got to go head-to-head against this? I mean, let's say it. They're probably going to win their division and make a playoff run.
Yep.
So this is a test right here.
They are. And I mean, if you look at how we've matched up with a good pass rusher, they have Hutchinson, and he's a good pass rusher. And what Khalil Mack put on a career performance against us.
That was great.
So when you have a premier pass rusher that we're going up against, our O-line has not performed well at all against a premier pass rusher. So that's my only worry right there. If we can't handle him and take him out of the, neutralize him a bit so that we can do some things on offense, we are going to struggle. If we can't establish the run, we are going to struggle. So hopefully those 5 men up front on our O-line can play their best game, because to me, it's really going to be about those guys right there tonight. So
I think you said something key there at the beginning there, Spicy, about who gets in front. One of my main criticisms about McDaniels is we can't score in the second half. We can't make adjustments. So if it's a close game at the half, man, I don't have that much faith in our team in the second half. We're not scoring, and we haven't scored. We have too many games with 3 or less points in the second half. Too many.
Is there a curse? Is there a curse of offensive coordinators that they label offensive geniuses? Because ain't none of these damn geniuses done well. We've had several geniuses. Our Norv Turner, we've seen a few of them just absolutely crash and burn when they're the head coach. Even when they have, we have an offensive coordinator, you know what I mean? But obviously McDaniels is calling the play, and I'm just like, is there some curse, man? Because especially off of the Patriots tree, because man, genius, bad. You know what I mean? All of them have been bad, and I'm like, geez, dude, let the other guy call the play. I think we've been through this in Raider Nation where we have an offensive head coach, and we're like, please let him call the plays. Focus on the game as a whole.
Yeah. Aphrodisiac, what do you think?
Yeah, I got to go with Omar on that one. You can be called a genius when you win. I win a cakewalk in junior high, so that means I'm a genius with cakewalks. I know where that empty chair is. I can run to it faster than everybody else. Just because you win, that doesn't make you smart. That just means you won. And if you got Tom Brady on your team, you're going to win a lot, apparently. But away from that environment, what has anyone from the Bill Belichick tree done? Now, you can look at the Bill Walsh. For those of us old enough to remember Bill Walsh, his tree did really well. His little disciples went out into the world and they taught and they won Super Bowls. But that doesn't happen with the Belichick guys, but they keep getting hired. And, sad to say, but there's one coaching the Raiders now who I don't see the genius level. I don't see it. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's some scheming going on. Maybe the defenses out there just took lucky guesses and were able to shut him down. But being a layman sitting here on my sofa, I don't see how he qualifies as an offensive genius at all.
Well, here's the thing, now I hadn't really thought of this until you brought that up, but, if you look at where he got that title, he certainly didn't get it right away, right? It took many years and many Super Bowl rings to get it when you already had arguably the greatest quarterback ever with a coach that's also one of the greatest ever with the team that was phenomenal. So if you have all the right people and worked well together for a long time, it wasn't flipping every year like the Raiders have different players every year. I mean, that when you have a good core, it's easy to do great things and get maybe a genius or whatever, title, if you will.
No,
With the Raiders are working. Right,
when
exactly.
you're damn near an autonomous vehicle.
Not that, you've got Jimmy G, who's played like 4.5 games. You've got Devontae Adams, who they've only played those 4.5 games together. Devontae's only been on a team for a year and a half. You have a coach who's only coached for a year and a half. You've got a GM that's new. All these things, right? All these things are new. They're not gelling together yet. Hopefully they will. But I don't think you just go, hey, genius person, pluck you from here to here with an entire different cast, and you get the same results. So I think
in other places, though,
that element.
I think the measuring stick, at least for me, I'm not going to speak for other Raider fans. The measuring stick for me is that, number one, we've seen a new coach come in and completely change an organization within his first season, at least noticeably enough that the results make you believe. Just, we know this happens, so it's possible. And then you see where a team like ours, when we all went through, we lost our coach, we lost our starting wide receiver, and we still go into playoffs. Then we change everything, and then you see a decline. And then you see another season where it's not just decline, but you also see, come on, man, we lost against a high school coach. We lost against a quarterback who jumped off a plane, thumb through the playbook and outplayed you. And then we can't score more than 19 points or whatever it is. It does kind of say, it makes it hard. That's all.
Yeah.
Like I said, we all know we want consistency because we haven't had it. But, I just wonder, are we parking that consistency, where we park it?
Right. I feel you. And with all that said, here's the thing. I think it's easy. Listen, Omar, you're Mr. Optimistic. I am certainly more of a realist, and when I see it, I don't like it, and I haven't liked what the Raiders have done for years. So this might surprise you. I think we're really focusing as a fan base way too much on the negative. Okay, did the Raiders totally blow it against the Bears? Obviously, that was abysmal. That was the worst performance I think I've seen the Raiders have in years. The game against the Bills, the Bills are a good team. Again, I know they had their upset, any given Sunday type thing. But at the end of the day, if you really look at it, the Raiders aren't in that bad of a position. Okay, we're better than we were last year in this position with a quarterback who people argue is top 10. When we've worked with quarterbacks this year, one's been broken, one's a rookie, and one's almost retired. And if you look at these standings, this is a winnable team, or a winnable. Put it this way: they in the hunt, and this is. I mean, the Raiders are right there. Losing record, sure. Again, better than last year. Hopefully, they can pull out a win today, and then we'll see what they can do moving forward. But hear me out here for a second. We all dislike the Chiefs. I actually was rooting for the Chiefs yesterday because I thought it could have helped the Raiders when you look at this in the hunt scenario. Because I don't think anyone's going to catch the Chiefs. And I would rather have the Chiefs be 7-1 today and the Broncos be 2-6, because let's put them in our rearview mirror. And the Chargers are only above here because the Raiders blew that game. But if you look at this further, and if we're looking to make a run at a playoff in the hunt wild card, I mean, the Raiders are right there. Like the Bills 5-3, you go down here, 4-3, 4-3, 4-3. Look at this, 3-4. I mean, the Raiders are right in the middle of the pack. And I actually think people hating on the 49ers was a bad move yesterday too, because we don't play the 49ers. Who cares? We won't see them unless we make the Super Bowl. So for me, I was rooting for the 49ers to win because I want these Bengals to go down. Right now, I'm scoreboard watching and I'm looking for every AFC team to not do well. So hopefully the Raiders could hold up their end of the bargain, win some games, and maybe make, dare I say, a playoff run. What do you guys think?
I love your optimism. I guess I'm just speaking from a point of view of just like I was saying about Detroit right now, the inconsistency and how, every Raider fan probably feels this way. I don't want to have to depend on others losing. I want us to win and walk into the playoffs. So like I say, by any means necessary now, don't get me wrong, but I think if we do get in from others' losses, we're just going to lose,
Oh, well, they're not. Listen, 100%.
Yeah.
This is not a playoff contending team.
And like I said, I'm an optimistic Raider.
Well, we got to be watching for something.
I still see the reality of tonight's game. You know what I mean? Is that you have two inconsistent teams playing each other, but like we were talking about the differences of the coach, one team believes, another team doesn't. And that's how I segue into everything I was saying about belief and how that is built over time. And we just, like I say, from the results we've gotten right now, makes it hard to believe when you look at, like I say, between these two teams. So anyway.
For me, I still got to go back. I still got to go back and see how we don't make adjustments in the second half. I don't see it. I appreciate the optimism, but I just don't. I don't see how we turn that around and how you back into the playoffs with other teams losing. And I dig what you're saying. Hey, well, good. The other AFC teams lose. I get it, but I don't see how that really gets us anywhere if really we're barely beating bad teams and we're losing to horrible teams also.
Well, this is where it gets me. I have to have some reason to root for this team and find it enjoyable. And if scoreboard watching and hoping that we can back our way in is a way to enjoy a losing a losing season to a team that's obviously doesn't have it together, then that's what I want to focus. For me, that's what I focus on. Otherwise, I just turn it off and do something else and look to next season, I guess, or the next one, or 10 years from now. Otherwise, it's a waste of time to even watch it for me.
But I also think watching too, just like I was saying, I look for some of the little details, even in a loss, to see if I can see some improvement. Like, hey, tonight it'll be a huge thing if we can keep Hutchinson pretty much under control. I mean, not like he's going to have a terrible game, but as long as he doesn't have a good game, you know what I mean? To me, those are little things to walk away with, especially where the players are concerned and, of course, the coaching is concerned, because as our O-line, we better double up on them. We see Max get double up. That was what was so shocking about that Charger game, is we're not doubling up on Khalil Mack. I was like, huh?
If nobody else, that guy.
Single and free. So, these are just some of the things, at least, like I say, for me, this is what I'm looking at. Here's some, small victories that we can have that I know it's going to get me excited tonight. You know what I mean? Aside of course, winning and all these other things, because certain things to me can be consistent, where you can start building consistencies in what you do. And I think, like I say, some of the little things. So hopefully that meeting that they had, they start looking at the details, players and coaches, because to me I think that's the obvious thing that's missing, so.
Afro, would you like to answer your own question here?
It was a rhetorical question, but I just don't know what it is, and I think that was kind of the deal with John Gruden version 2 as well. It's like change. The other team clearly has figured you out, so you need to change. You need to do something. If you went this direction, you kind of need to go a little differently for the second, but you stick with it and nothing changes. So, but can you? I mean, is your guru-ness, is your offensive guru reputation such that you have the expertise to be able to say, oh, this isn't working, well, let's try this, maybe you just don't have it. Maybe you're just going to stick with it. And if that road takes you over the cliff, then you're just going to go over the cliff because you really don't know how to do anything else. And that's really sad if you're the head coach, if you really cannot switch up from what you know, because then you have lousy teams, crappy teams like the Bears who say, oh, yeah, we know what they're going to do. And it just repeats itself game after game after game after game. So, yeah, you need a guy who, Omar knows this. You try to hit on girls in the bar and you strike out and you strike out and you strike out. You need to figure out what your rap is, right? You need to figure out, something else that's going to work. You don't want to keep going home all by yourself every time. Am I right, Omar?
Yeah.
Dang, Omar.
Not that I've heard anything, of course, just an example.
I'm sure you have. My lady would speak to that.
I digress a little bit, and maybe this is just me, but if you're hitting on me in a bar, don't touch me. I hate that. Don't put your hands on me in any capacity.
No on the shoulder.
No, you're just don't. I don't know. You don't touch me. Don't touch me. And don't and certainly don't be as bold to ask for a kiss because that happens. It's disgusting.
But last I remember though, the bar was a numbers game. You keep going, you'll find somebody. Unlike in football.
That's true. Somebody might want you to touch them. Certainly not me.
Hey, on also what Afro was saying there, my and I hate Josh McDaniels. I'm not sure if I said that, but I'll say it again. I hate Josh McDaniels. Anyways, on what Afro was saying, I believe part of what McDaniels' problem is his ego. I believe that he says this is what works. Maybe he's piggybacking off of what he did over there in New England. And he said, well, this is what worked over there. Why can't you players do this? And he keeps alluding to players got to execute, blah, 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 blah. But if we don't, and like we were saying, you don't make the second half adjustments, you're basically saying my way works, you guys got to do it, and it'll work. But it's not. So that's where I think part of this McDaniels experiment, I think a major failure is his own ego, that he feels like that his system works. I'm tired of hearing about this fucking system. It didn't work on one team. It's not working on this team. It doesn't fucking work, and he's a fucking loser coach, period. And there's no getting around that. He's a loser coach. He has a more losing percentage with us than he did with Denver. What the fuck are we doing here? Nah. And I think his ego gets in the way of the game.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that ego part of it. However, I will say this. I don't think what a lot of Raiders fans are campaigning for is the solution at this point in the season. Do I think Josh McDaniels is the answer? No. I thought I didn't want him, and I think I said he should have been fired like 2 games in the last season. But now that we have him and he's here, I don't see how firing him right now, getting an interim coach, which is half of the two things that Raiders fans want, and also benching Garoppolo and starting Aiden O'Connell. Because now we have an interim coach and a rookie quarterback who's not ready, who's proven he's not ready. And I don't see that being a better recipe for what we have right now. So if there's no solution, I don't think we should just campaign for a firing of McDaniels and a benching of Garoppolo. And we have, even if it's Rob Ryan and AOC, that I don't think that's the answer moving forward. And I don't think that's going to help the team in any sort of way in the middle of the season where we are right now.
Yeah, I don't think there's
so devil's advocate on that argument, because I don't disagree with what you're saying. And we talked about this a while ago. So the flip side to it is, and let's just forget about interim coach for now. Let's just talk about a new coach. Well, now you got new coach, but then you're going to need a new quarterback.
Right.
I don't think Garoppolo is the answer. Can you hang on for another year? I don't know, in another system. But other than that, you got a rookie and you got the draft. Hoyer's not going anywhere. Not anybody in their right fucking mind is gonna give Hoyer the nod. That doesn't make sense. So either you got Garoppolo, you got AOC, or you got rookie, a draft quarterback. But my thing is this, and this is where I play devil's advocate with it, is that so if your car keeps leaving you stranded, do you say, well, let's just keep leaving it stranded? Well, no, you go get another one and you shoot your shot, man. I just don't see staying with McDaniels, and I get your point. I'm not. There's no disagreement to your point. I understand it. I see what you're saying. But what's the difference? I mean, we've had a new fucking coach every year.
Well, and that's, to me, that's part of the problem. Inconsistency is a part of the problem. New
It
coach,
is, but like I said,
new coach, new quarterback, new GM, new president, new city, new this, new that. Like, come on.
No, I get that, but I don't know which one's worse, keeping the bad one, or shooting your shot with the new one. I don't know which one's worse. I personally don't know. You can make an argument for both, and I understand your argument. I get it.
Yeah, I would say for me, for now, I would ride it out. Ride it out.
At least to the end of the season.
At least that's what I'm saying. At least
to the end of the season.
Right.
I mean, if anything, if I was the owner, I might go to my head coach and say, hey, let Lombardi call the plays, all right? I mean, if I were to do anything mid-season because I'm fed up, is I would probably take the play calling duties away from
you have a solid. I didn't think about that, Omar, but I kind of dig what you just said. Clearly scoring, what are we averaging? 16.2, something like that a game. Clearly that doesn't work. So you know what? Let Lombardi call the damn plays and mix it up some type of damn way. Okay, let's give that a shot. Is that a halfway point between what I said and what Spicy said? Is there a middle ground there? I think that might be it.
It could be it, but back to your point, Scotty Waddy, to McDaniel's ego, he probably is not going to let that happen. And maybe Mark Davis knows that even if he suggests it, that could rub him the wrong way somehow. You know, I don't know. I'm totally speculating. Listen, I'm not in the facility, but you know, we can only speculate on what we see, what we watch, what we hear. So I can see McDaniels being, with it, like you said, with his ego, being offended by that. Well, even if it's for the good of the team.
Well, we gotta wonder about how smart Mark Davis is to say, look, I'm the shot caller here. Ultimately, he is.
Well,
you know,
on paper.
I don't think Mark Davis is confident enough to do that. To say,
yeah, that's why I said on paper.
Yeah,
I don't either.
Yeah.
On paper, he definitely has the authority to say that. Will he actually do it?
No.
I don't think there's any way.
Like it would be the only thing. That would be the only move I would make. I've never understood mid-season head coach firings. You're just giving up on the season. You're still going to pay the guy. It's no way I'm paying somebody to sit at home. I mean, unless he just did something not only on the field and off the field, and I had to. So I just think ride it out for the rest of the season with McDaniels. Like I say, maybe he'll do something. Maybe something will change. We don't know. It doesn't. If I had to make a bet right now, I would bet that he would earn a firing. Whether Mark Davis does it at the end of the season, we'll see.
See, I've been of the thought that he won't get fired until at least, or at most, I should say, the end of the season. I don't know, man. The two videos of the people telling Davis to fire McDaniels, the one where you're sitting up in the stands, and then the other day with that Vegas guy. Is that getting to him? I don't know. Does it matter? I don't know, but I think if you're human, I think there's got to be a little something on your shoulder saying, "Damn, I sure got a lot of people pissed off at this situation."
Well, it's like us sitting in the stands. I'm sitting in the stands, jaw jacking with another fan, and my team doesn't give me any ammunition. I would have to believe it's the same with Mark. Mark got fans letting him have it, and he looks on the team and he's like, "Well, shit." After a while, he's realizing I can't say shit. We're losing.
But speaking of, right? I mean, tonight's game's a toss-up. The Giants, again, any given Sunday, we don't know, right? We hope the Raiders beat the Giants. They're a beatable team. They're not very good. The Jets are beatable. Let's say, what that's 3 games. moving forward, we sit here, we have the same conversation. The Raiders are 6-4, maybe 5-5. I mean, then you're moving the needle a little bit to your point, Omar, and having that little redemption ammunition, if you will. So I say we wait out these 3 games, and then because I don't think they're going to beat Miami, which is the following game, and then we can kind of really gauge where this team is at we're almost at the midpoint, but at the midpoint.
There's no disagreement from me on that. I don't have that much confidence. I don't have that much optimism, and it's because of McDaniels. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see.
I mean, for
I
me,
want to win. I don't give a damn who's there. I want to win.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if this is it, man. I'm just not sure.
I'm not a McDaniels fan, but trust me, he can redeem himself to me on any given Sunday.
Yeah.
Like I
Or
said,
Monday.
with some of the little things and showing that, like I said, and I'm talking about offense. Like, I'm not even talking about the defense. He can redeem himself with this offense. Picking up the point totals and winning, of course, winning. Between now and the end of the season, we could be having I am ready to have a very different conversation about the Raiders. I am. I'm hoping I can. Yeah. Like I say, I just haven't seen enough to say that that's what's probably going to happen. I just haven't seen those little things that I can say we've been building on that we're getting better at. And I don't think anyone can. You know what I mean? Like, we got 4 players from our offensive line from last year and 1 new guy, and we see how they're performing. So those are the
a lot better last year.
And say that doesn't give me a lot of hope, but I'm one of those people that, hey, Daniel, make a change any day now.
Scotty, what did you say?
So we were a lot better last year.
What?
Yeah.
The team was better last year.
I was referring to the offensive line.
To the O-line.
Gotcha.
Right.
Just the
O-line.
I thought you meant in general. I was like, wait, what?
The running game, I mean, was better and consistent.
Well, and that's the thing. There's no consistency. It's starting over all the time. It's so frustrating. But let's get to some real quickly. We're gonna wrap up here in about 10 minutes. We'll leave on a positive note.
Yep.
Before we get to that, let's see the keys to victory here tonight. I'm gonna start. I'll name what I think my 4 are. Raiders need to start out quick. They need to convert. They need to get some first downs and score on the first, second drive. We gotta get Devontae and Jacobs in sync, working together. I would throw in Mayer. They really have to spread it around. And then I would say on defense, Mad Max. And surprising to me, Robert Spillane, who's come up, if he can consistently play like that, because unfortunately Marcus Peters isn't really doing his thing. I think those are the 3 keys of victory for me. What do you guys think?
I think I've been talking about it a little bit just a minute ago. I think my first and number 1 is going to be our offensive line. They got to handle Hutchinson, and they got to get some holes so Jacobs can run. The second thing on offense, he said it earlier, that I'm always going to be double teamed. The ball has to be thrown in tight windows. So Garoppolo, you're going to have to make some throws and get our guy going. Once he goes, he's going to need – Mayer has been looking great. Love him. I think they find it very easy to get that tight end going. So I'm not even going to talk about that. But you got to get Devontae going. You got to throw those tight windows. Stop doing those sucker plays where he's on the line of scrimmage like he's one of these rookies. Stop doing that. Okay, so that's number 2. And then number 3, sorry, Afro, because you said it too, and I agree. We gotta score in the second half. We do. We gotta score in the second half. And you see all my 3 are on offense. I am not gonna mention the defense because they've been, to me, a little bit more consistent than the offense has right now, and they need help from the offense, hands down. We're not gonna win. I'm not even gonna think that they're gonna hold somebody to 10 points or something like that. So this offense just got to get going. That's it.
That's right. Really quickly, before we let the last 2 guys go, if you want to hit that super chat button, there's only like 5, maybe 10 minutes left in the show, so your odds are good to win. So hit that super chat button for any amount for your chance to win a Woodson Whiskey t-shirt. And then go ahead, guys. Your keys to victory?
I can say I think if we get that defense back up like we had a few games ago where they looked like they were doing something. Marcus Peters, oh man, he frustrates me. I think Marcus Peters is still a serviceable player. But I hope somebody said something to him. I hope somebody bent his ear a little bit. Because I think he can be a difference maker. I agree with Spillane. I really like that pickup. Um, Offense got to score. If we go back to, and I hate to say this, but if we go back to the Patriots, they were using that slot receiver. Jacoby Myers is a slot receiver. We're not using Hunter Renfrow. Why aren't we using these guys? That opens up that offensive line for Jacobs to do what he's got to do, because you got a threat, running slants and you got a deep ball threat for sure. Devontae, come on, man, you're not using. Come on, use Devontae Adams. God damn, why? How? I don't get it, man. He didn't get to this point. Everybody in the league knows Devontae Adams. He didn't get to this point without being a good receiver, and they cover him every game. So you can't tell me that now he's being too covered. You can't tell me. You can't argue me
He's
that.
always double covered. Yep.
Well,
Yeah, he's always been covered.
I think it comes back to your point, though. Remember, when he was too covered, he had Aaron Rodgers throwing to him, who can throw in those tight spots. Now we've got 3 quarterbacks where we don't really know what we're getting. Like I said, broken, rookie, and almost retired. So that's who we have. We don't have Aaron Rodgers throwing to McDaniel or to Devontae.
Yeah.
So I get it. You're not wrong, but unfortunately, that's
Yeah, for sure. No, I just, if we can get, our defense was showing some flashes in a few games earlier in the season. I think 2 or 3 games ago, we were like, oh, okay, look at this defense. We were all sitting here like, wait, we're Raider fans talking about how the defense played. Wow, if we can get back to some of that, and then you get this, and if we can get this dumbass to put to scheme something up to put points on the board, shit, we got a solid chance here.
Afro, what are your keys to victory?
All right. Well, like I said before, got to make those second half adjustments. You got to figure out a way to score points in the second half. But on top of that, you just got to figure out a way to score points. Just 14 points a game, that's just not going to do it. I really expect that you're going to have to score a lot of points and show everybody that you know how to do it and that you can do it in all quarters, not just in the first second. Then you got to keep those fans in Detroit. You got to keep them out of the game. I don't know if you remember the opening day, the Lions opened up in Green Bay, and they were pretty much half the stadium there. So they're feeling good about themselves, not just the coach making the players feel good. That coach has the whole city feeling good. So you really need to score early and quick and shut that team down so that the crowd doesn't make you get into those silent counts and all of that. But lastly, and most importantly, if the Raiders have a first down and goal inside the 10-yard line, go for the touchdown. Do not kick a field goal. If you kick a field goal, I'm turning off the TV. I'm turning off the TV.
And also, may I add, if you're 2 yards or even 4 yards away from the goal line, and if Aiden O'Connell happens to be in, or anybody else besides Garoppolo, or even if Garoppolo is in, remember, you got Josh Jacobs back there. You don't have to force it. You don't have to force the throw, okay? I'm just referencing the Chargers game, of course. But before we go out, let me go out on this high note with my boy Mad Max here. He went back to Michigan, home of his alma mater, Eastern Michigan Athletics. Shout out to Mad Max for donating $1 million to his college. I believe now the stadium will have the will have the Crosby name on it. So that's amazing. And this is very generous, because I know these guys make a lot of money. However, this is a huge portion of his net worth. I think his net worth is I shouldn't say only, but his net worth is like $7 million, which is a ton of money. Don't get me wrong. But to donate this amount of money is a huge number. So any amount would be great. But to me, this is special. That means he appreciated where he came from. He wants other people to follow in his footsteps, maybe to go to this college. So shout out to my boy, Matt Max.
Yeah, good stuff.
Absolutely.
Always giving back. I appreciate that. Hopefully he gets Well, I want at least 2 sacks tonight. I'm rooting for 2. I'll be happy with 2 sacks.
More than
All
that.
right, guys. Well, I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. Afro and Scotty Waddy, thank you for joining myself and Omar on
Yes.
our take.
Oh.
Monday Night Football is about to start here soon, as you all know. And you know, Raider Nation, we go out one way and only one
Only one
way.
way.
Produced by Hamza Yassin. Produced by Hamza Yassin.
Bye, everyone. Enjoy the game. And hopefully the next time we talk to you on Woodson Whiskey Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, we will be discussing a win and a 500 record. Enjoy, everyone.